This episode of Flyte Camp is sponsored by Crown Equipment, ideas that advance. We're in the 1947 Aero Flite. Really cool trailer. I've always wanted to do one of these, and we finally got our hands on one. It ended up selling to some great clients, and so now we're doing the build out. We just wanted to kind of catch you guys up on where we were at in the scheme of things right now. As you can see, all the panels for the walls, ceiling, and everything have been sprayed and are installed. Rough wiring is done, and rough plumbing is going in right now. Insulation's finished. Doing a little bit of sealing up top.
Came in here dilapidated past recognition on the inside.
Well, we went to a vintage trailer rally and we saw an Aero Flite, and we compared it to all the other trailers that we saw, and we decided that an Aero Flite is what we wanted, not knowing how rare they were. And so we went home and started searching for them online and found that Justin and Anna had one that was for sale. There were only about 120 made originally, and there are maybe 20 or so left, and this is one. So that's how rare it was. We did not know that when we thought this is the trailer we want. We try to keep it as original as possible. So there's not really anything.
We added a toilet.
Well, we did add a toilet.
Originally, this trailer did not have a toilet room, and it's really important to our clients that we're able to incorporate that into the design of the trailer and yet keep the originality. So what we've done is we are going to take a closet that was sat here and a little side table, and we're going to combine the two and make a small toilet room. Now, there's still some debate as to whether they want to keep the original ceiling line. It's really, really cool how this trailer has a very open sight line. You can see the trolley from the front to the back. If we make a little bit bigger toilet room, then we're going to be kind of cutting off this space here. And we've got to figure out a way to just make it flow, even though we are kind of cutting into that cool trolley line. This is a trailer we've been wanting to do for a very long time, and it feels like we've missed out on one Aero Flite after another. So I'm really excited to finally get to actually participate in bringing one back to life.
Well, we've always wanted to do an Aero Flite. You know, it's been on my bucket list for quite a while. They were a great trailer, beautifully made. Designing on it is great. Aircraft aluminum construction and everything. But I never knew how much work it was actually going to be. So once we got into this project, I kept telling Anna, it's okay, it's all right. You know, most of the framing is metal. We don't have a lot of woodwork to do in there, just some flat panels here and there. But what I didn't realize is that we were trading that for weeks and weeks, literally, of polishing. And so Dan has been back there with every part and piece of the furniture, and that means couch pieces, trim, L-angle. I mean, everything that you see in there is a polished piece of aluminum one way or another. And it all kind of goes together and connects a little bit like an erector set with polished aluminum. So I feel bad for the guy, and I'll tell you, the next time my one rolls around, I may think twice.
It started out, the stuff was pretty weathered, ate up, corroded from acid rain, that kind of thing. We started out, we just tried to lightly polish it. It wasn't working, so we had to get into a little bit more depth of polishing. Had to refinish the surface of the metal a lot more than we usually do. Turned out okay. It was a little like black, gray, spotty looking, but there's really nothing we can do about that. It's kind of impregnated with a lot of impurities from the acid rain and stuff. But it was quite the chore. I mean, people think you just rub the metal on a piece of buff or on a buff or a piece of cloth and it shines right up, but it doesn't. You really have to do a lot of metal finishing to get it to get a good shine or luster to it. Hour-wise, I've probably got about 120 hours in it polishing that whole trailer. The worst part was a lot of it was all beat up from years and years of road use and just bent and crushed, and we had to make a lot of stuff. I had to fabricate quite a few different things. Just hours and hours and just meticulous. Just every little thing has to go just right with the next little thing. Screws have to be turned the right way. You know, everything has to be shiny. You can't leave nothing dull because it sticks out like a sore thumb everywhere. It's really a meticulous job.
some people are going to use them for show, and some people are going to use them for camping. And from what I gathered from Justin, they're going to be using this thing, which is really neat to hear, because a lot of people, we take our time and effort to make them perfect, and then they don't show them except to certain people. And so it's nice to know they're actually going to use this.
You're working on essentially kind of a living, moving, breathing vehicle. These things move from one corner to the next constantly, and going down the road they're going to do the same thing. And so in the building process, we try and keep things as level as we can throughout the entire process from corner to corner so that everything is as square as can be. But we're remanufacturing and restoring a lot of vehicles that they had different wall thicknesses and stuff from top to bottom, say. And so nothing is plumb or square. I tell everybody in here when they start, if you've got contracting experience or if you've got framing experience, to basically throw that out the window, because you're going to learn something new. You basically learn to scribe a lot of things and try and get it as square and plumb as you can. But quite honestly, it's quite the chore to do that. There's a lot of improvisation. Jeff, how's the progress going?
I'm just mocking up the front glass right now, the plexiglass. I got a piece of it. But
Oh, sweet.
I need to figure out how the gasket that we have, versus what was really there originally is going to work. It looks like it's going to work pretty good.
Yeah, that's cool.
Got some polished up pieces for the trim.
Good. All the other windows look like they're done and in.
Yeah.
Ready to get cabinets.
These two up front are non-opening, but then we've got the ones down the side. Got
Cool.
all that going. Brand new fuzzies in there and track.
Yeah.
And the kitchen window opens and the two rear ones.
Yeah, it looks pretty amazing from the outside. The polish is done at this point. The windows are in. Once this gets finished, then this front, kind of buttons up with the louvers and everything. And I see that you've got furniture starting to go in here. These are done panels? These are finished?
That panel is.
Okay.
Basically needed to start somewhere in the beginning
Yeah.
of the trailer so that we can get everything in here. It's mocked up right now, but because we're adding a toilet room,
Oh, yeah. So you got
I needed
that.
to know exactly where that was going to go.
I'll tell you, this is such a simple trailer, but there's so much handwork to do on it.
A lot of detail.
It's not like it's real complicated, but my goodness, every piece you have in here, you've got to sand and polish and detail work. I mean, it's just crazy.
It's not conventional cabinetry whatsoever.
No.
It's not all wood. You got aluminum framing that you see. It's like an exoskeleton, and then you put the wood behind it.
It's just panels, 1/4-inch panels.
Right.
All except for the kitchen, of course, which is all aluminum and looks incredible. That's kind of like the centerpiece of this trailer.
Very nice.
So you got the bathroom going on here. Now this is going to have to definitely change up here, kind of header and stuff. It's going to be a short door, but in a trailer that never had a bathroom before, keeping everything original. I mean, that's the best place to put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They really want original, original, authentic, preserve it as much as possible. But my only question is the headboard. That was a pretty ornate headboard, and super cool looking, but a lot of detail work on it. All kind of rolled in, and it opened and everything.
Yeah, it was like an old roll-top desk.
Yeah.
But it did open up, and it was so rotten and dilapidated. It was like falling in on itself.
I think that window probably just poured water in on it for years. So we can't use it. So what do we got going on with that?
We got Joe working on it over there. He's rebuilding another one. So he's got both of them over there, so we can really see the difference.
Nice. Can we go take a look at it?
Let's go look at it.
Cool. Ah, yes. Man, that thing is toast, isn't it?
Pretty much gone.
Wow.
Falling apart.
Yeah, some sort of lacquer shellac or something. Look at that. Oh, that is neat though. Look at how that door is built. Door skin or 1/8 inch that they steamed on there or something. So that just open, like so. Well, that is really cool. So we've got the old and the new. Joe, what did you have to do to get that bent around there? That could not have been easy.
I actually had to steam bend it.
Oh, you did? You steam bent it.
We tried 1/8 inch. 1/8 inch didn't work.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing now is I actually steam bent door skin,
Okay.
which actually steam bent really nicely. And I'm just prepping it right now for a nice mahogany veneer. We'll veneer the front. I'm test fitting. Make sure everything works properly.
Look at that. Very nice. Yeah, that's cool, man.
Make sure everything works properly and fits properly.
That's so cool.
Then we'll just skin it with some nice mahogany veneer, and it'll be ready to go.
So now we'll get our veneer. That's our ribbon cut mahogany veneer on there. You're going to glue that application, sand it, and then get it into the booth.
Just a light sanding. As you can see, I've already got it, the interior stained and taken care of.
Yeah.
So yeah, just mahogany veneer, and it's off to spray.
Sweet. Well, it's such a cool piece of furniture. I'm so glad you could replicate it, and it really looks amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, check that out.
That'll be an original piece that'll go back on.
Yep, that'll be the original
and the
piece.
customer was very adamant about keeping as many original pieces as we could that weren't rotten and gone.
Yeah.
Correct.
So that's going to look real cool on there.
Well, wiring a trailer from 1947 is a little bit different than wiring it nowadays. Back then, they didn't have a lot of self-containment systems. Every so often, you'd have a 12-volt light in the ceiling that they would run to the pigtail. But conventionally, everything was 110 powered. So nowadays, people want to take them on the road, and they want to be self-contained. And so old converter systems or old inverter systems, we have to kind of rework and rewire to make sure that they fit with today's usages and standards. And so the wiring in there, we try and keep as low voltage as we possibly could. We added some outlets here and there. Most of them were in the original placement, but we added 2, I believe, in the back that weren't, just to make it convenient for the headboard area. Tried to keep everything hidden as much as we possibly could, and then we added a couple of hidden USB ports as well. Not too detailed, it's not too crazy. You know, we've got some trailers here that are upwards of 35, 40 feet that are very detailed. This one, we just needed to kind of bring it into 2018 a little bit and add a little bit of self-containment so that they've got lights and some charging systems when they're off-grid out on the road. There's a lot of metal work in the Aero Flite, but there's also a lot of beautiful, beautiful mahogany going on in there. Ribbon cut mahogany, or sapele, is one of my favorite choices for a species on the interior of a 1930s to mid-1940s trailer. In this particular trailer, originally it was all mahogany, and so we decided definitely to keep that species of wood going on in there. And it looks incredible. The headboard, how it rounds over and has that beautiful rounded look on it. Once you get all the varnish, that deep coloring on it, it really brings out the gold in the grain. And so as we're spraying, we're sanding in between, but we're putting 2 to 3 coats, and sapele is a very porous product, and so we have to go one step further. So we had to make sure that we had 4 full coats on everything that we did in here with sanding in between. And some of the wood is original. We were able to salvage some of it. You can kind of tell the difference of an old species versus the brand new species that's a little younger.
We spray them all, and you have to be kind of talented with the spray gun in order to do this and not get any drips. And then we go through and we sand each panel. Then we tack cloth it, and then we spray them again. And this process we do about 3 to 4 times on each trailer, so that when you're done, you end up with this really, really beautiful finish. It's kind of between a satin and a gloss. It's natural. The color allows the wood to age naturally, which is really, really beautiful, very timeless looking, but it is quite the process. Once it's done though, you can wipe the interior panels down and with just some water, and they keep their beauty for hopefully another 50 or 60 years.
But all in all, it looks amazing, and when we're finished with this, with all of this varnish in here, it's just going to absolutely shine on the interior.
When this project first started, of course it got demoed. We take it apart, we save all the parts and pieces, bag them, label every part, and then the framework was addressed that needed to be fixed. The axle was addressed, then new flooring was put on, subfloor, and then new flooring over the top of that, and that's pretty much where I got the project from at that point. Had to run all the new electrical, keeping again time era correct, and then panels, making exact replicas of the old panels if I could, using things that were falling apart. And then Javen started working here with me, and he's been working under me and learning this trade with me. This is a lot different than a lot of trailers. A lot of newer trailers, or most newer trailers, you're going to have just a regular Phillips head screwdriver, and so you can power in the screws as you want. This trailer has all flathead slotted screws, so you can't put that on a power tool because it just falls off. So you have to hand screw every screw that's on this, and it's been probably 6 or 8 weeks of just screwing things together by hand. It took me over 200 and something hours to polish the trailer. It came in horrible. We had to replace the front panel, but the other ones, they wanted to keep as many original panels as possible. And then each louver had to be polished separately. We took all those off.
Rivet construction of any aircraft or travel trailer is quite the process. You know, back then they had assembly lines where they were set up to do sections of an airplane or sections of a travel trailer, and then it would move down the line and somebody else would do the same rivets over and over again, you know, in different stages. And so things went a little bit quicker, but you still have 2 people that have to be there, one on one side bucking with a bucking bar and the other one shooting with the rivet gun. And you know, it does take a lot of practice. They have to be set just right. The tolerance has got to be correct. They've got to seal up watertight, and they have to look good in the end. Quite honestly, you can't have rings or dips or anything in it. So it's quite the process. And for a shop like ours that works on a lot of different vehicles in different areas of the shop, we're not set up like an assembly line necessarily. And so for us to rivet anything, we have to kind of set up an area to do that. And then we've got to make sure that the guys have got plenty of practice in and that they know what they're doing so that we get a good finished product. We've had some challenges on this build, you know, what to keep and what to salvage and what to throw away. The client definitely wanted to keep as much as possible. I think that they were really under the impression that it was a little bit better of a original find as far as being intact and usable as it was. And as we got deep into the project, we realized that there was a lot of stuff that had to be replicated or remade, and that included panels on the outside. And we've kind of gone back and forth with how far do you polish it. You know, a polish job can have hours and hours and hours, and you still can work on it. It's very, very, very detailed. But this one, we had to have a cutting off point. You know, we want to make sure and get it done in their budget and get it back to them so that they can use it this year. And so that has been a little bit of a challenge. Not to mention, we've never done an Aero Flite before. So all the polishing on the inside is about triple the amount of time that we anticipated for this. And so because it is the framework of the cabinetry, all that polished aluminum in there is really what all the cabinets are based on with 1/4-inch panels. It was just very time consuming and detailed. It did come out amazing. I'm super happy with it, and it looks, you know, stunning. It looks like factory correct and right off the showroom floor. So I'm proud of that. But you know, as far as time-wise goes, we're you know, really pushing it on the time, and we really need to wrap this project up. So As you can see, Devin's about ready to put it in the booth, and it's going to make a huge change for us.
I'm actually going to build almost like a deep picture frame, almost like a shadow box, in order to cover up the subframing underneath and to give it a really nice clean look on the exterior of the door panel. We're making this out of some nice Sapele mahogany, and it should look very clean and neat when it's finished up.
We're on a crazy deadline right now. We have limited days. Literally, we're down to like 4 days left until the client comes and picks this trailer up. And instead of the list getting smaller, as always, it seems to be growing. I walk around the trailer and I start nitpicking, and the guys love it when I do that. I see a bunch of eyes roll. Crazy. Lots and lots to do in here. And limited time, like 2 days left. And as you can see, all this stuff is undone. See lights hanging down, and we're trying to keep a good attitude towards it, keep happy, but I'm a little stressed right now, so I'm gonna pull some guys from other areas, different trailers, and we're gonna all tackle this, and hopefully this thing will get finished, done, tested, and ready to go on Tuesday. Lots to do. You know, we don't want to let it go out without covering our bases. We want it to be 100% for them. They entrusted us with the project and with the trailer, and they're going to have it for a long time to come. So we want to make sure everything is covered and that it looks amazing, you know, out on the rally circuit or, you know, in their travels. So right now we're just kind of at that 9th hour, kind of that crunch time. I'm a little stressed out, I got to be honest with you. We've got a lot going on in there, and I've pulled people from other trailers to come in and help out just with that final list, because today's Thursday, and on Tuesday they're coming to pick it up and take it away for good. And I believe they're camping all the way back, which makes it even more stressful for me, because everything has got to be 100% covered and no issues. They're not going to be around in the area, you know, testing things out and able to bring it back to us. They're actually taking it home. And so we want to make sure that it's covered. And so we're just going over that list, doing everything we can to make sure that we put out the best product we can. And everything's color coded on that. So if you could do that next, then we can start running all the propane system.
Well,
You and-
I can test it, yeah.
Yeah, we can test it. While you're testing it, you and Dan are going to jump on the screens and those belly pan pieces underneath. We just looked at them. They're super easy, flat pieces. They don't have to be.
Right.
It's really
I
easy
figured,
to screw
yeah.
on. And we'll keep going on the electrical, and then that way screens, belly pan, electrical. We'll be waiting for the chrome stuff, and then door seals. And that's,
Whenever anything gets here.
yeah.
Oh man, is it time to pull the cardboard?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
You know what
it's
that means. No, right?
Kind of finally get it just finished
Yep.
and see it with everything come together.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at
Okay, get this out
Okay.
of your way, and you can do a final sweep. Put this thing together so we can reveal it and give it to them.
I'm so excited. This is the point where we get to add the final finishing touches like the upholstery fabric, and man, everybody has done such a great job. But you can't really totally appreciate it until it's clean and ready to reveal to the client. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sweep it out, wipe down the floor a little bit, and then we're gonna install the upholstery, and hopefully it looks great. This is the first time that I have done upholstery in a client's trailer, and I could not have picked a harder trailer and harder pattern to work with. So everybody knows I love fabric and upholstery. It's kind of an obsession for me. And I was using Jerry from Jerry's Upholstery to do all of the upholstery in our trailers, and he's amazing. I absolutely love him. But he retired, and then Matthew, who is his assistant, he started his own upholstery shop. And about a year later, he decided to move back to Australia. So I have decided, due to a lack of upholsterers, that I would finally pursue one of my side passions and learn upholstery. So Jerry's been training me. He came out of retirement only to do that. And this is my first client upholstery installation. And I could not have picked a harder fabric to work with. Our clients chose Art Deco fabric. They actually ordered it in from Europe. And as you can see, it has lines that go both directions. So when you're creating the cushions, you have to be really careful that every single last thing lines up. And then to make it even more challenging, we actually have a curved back here. So you've got to make sure that the pattern is in line and that the pie-shaped pieces, still the pattern lines up on each of them. So it was definitely a challenge, but I think it's turned out really, really nice.
Okay. So if you grab that, this is actually
Okay.
really light. It's made out of 1/4-inch mahogany,
Okay.
plywood, and then Doug fir that's only 1/2 inch thick. And so it's a big table, but it's a light table.
Yeah, it's super light. I could almost do this on my own.
Yep. So then this goes
Not very gracefully.
to those slots right there. Original design again.
Okay.
Okay.
Sits there.
Slides in
Oh.
just like so.
Okay.
And we've got our knobs. Isn't that nice?
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
but nice,
And now
big-
we're ready to
Nice big dinette.
entertain.
Yeah, I haven't tightened that all the way.
Okay. Yeah, this is great. Play cards, have meals. I like how we've gone with the marmoleum on the countertop just because if you do a stainless countertop, it just makes so much noise when the plates are sliding across it. And the same thing with Formica, actually.
Just,
Wow, now I don't want to get rid of it.
well, you and I have waited to do one of these for a long time.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, I think we did pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
The finished product's
The
amazing.
finished product is amazing. These guys in here killed it.
Yeah.
You know, and granted, it took a little longer than than we thought. There
Maybe
was a lot of
twice as long.
Yeah.
At least.
Well, there was a lot of things that we didn't anticipate, but we'll know for the next time.
Yeah.
And just like some of the other projects, you know, a lot of this polish and stuff just takes a lot of tedious
We have to remember if we
work.
put metal inside, especially original metal, yeah, to account for that.
But look at the amazing finished product.
It's
They're
gorgeous.
They're gonna love it.
They're gonna freak out.
It's been months and months of tedious hard work, and it paid off wonderfully. The trailer looks excellent, and the customer's happy. I know I've told Justin a couple times that I was gonna hook up to it and drag it off and hide it somewhere because I've done so much work on it, and I deserve this trailer. It's gorgeous. It's just, you don't see them. Even at rallies, you might see one a year when you go to all the rallies. And to be able to work on one and create basically a piece of art.
I think with retirement, mostly visiting the national parks, kind of touring the United States with it, sort of a mobile vacation home. That's the way I think of it.
The Aero Flite just left, and to be honest, I'm so excited for them. They seem truly happy and pleased with the outcome, and how could they not be? I mean, it was absolutely gorgeous. Everything looked beautiful. In the end, it turned out exactly how we had envisioned it, which is what always happens, but you know, you kind of look at it being done and undone, and you get tied into the details on every project. And when it's finally finished and all the details have been able to be taken care of, then you can step back and see it as a whole, and it really is stunning.